In this guide, we will go over all of the actions the Gladiator and Paladin learns from level 1 to 50 in order. We will go over how each action is meant to be used and, when applicable, the recommended way to use it. Fast Blade is your starting weapon skill or GCD. It is the first step in a 1-2-3 combo, so at this point you simply use it repeatedly. At level 2 you unlock Fight or Flight. This buffs all physical damage for a while. It is also an ability or oGCD. It is not super important to do properly yet, but it is highly recommended to start practicing late weaving now. You can hear more about late weaving and more in the video in the top right corner. At level 4 you learn the weapon skill Riot Blade, the second step of your 1-2-3 combo. At this point you simply alternate between Fast Blade and Riot Blade. At level 6 you unlock the weapon skill Total Eclipse, your go-to action for area of effect, or AoE for short, damage. Use this whenever you're fighting at least 3 enemies. At level 8 you unlock the role action and ability Rampart. It reduces damage taken for a while. It is best used early on in a fight when there are the most enemies and you will take the biggest brunt of the damage. Make sure to wait with using it until the enemies reach you, such that it blocks the largest amount of damage possible. At level 10 you unlock Iron Will, your tank stance, which multiplies enmity by 10. You should always have this active. You also unlock Shield Bash, which is a weapon skill that stuns the enemy. It does much less damage than your current 1-2 combo, so you should only use it if the stun is necessary or particularly useful at this point. At level 12 you unlock the role action and ability Low Blow, which is an ability stun, making it superior to Shield Bash. You can use this to prevent spell casts from enemies and stop an enemy from swinging at you for a bit, reducing damage taken. Often bosses will be immune, but in the early dungeons this is not always the case. At level 15 you learn the weapon skill Shield Lob. It comes with a 7 times enmity multiplier stacking with Iron Will for a times 70 multiplier. If you hit something with this, that enemy should stick to you for a long time. Use this for pulling enemies and try to use it just as the enemy gets in range when pulling with it, so you can do something else when they get up close. You can also use it for picking up enemies that appear during a fight. You also learn the role action and ability Provoke. This is your standard issue taunt. Using it on an enemy puts your enmity at the same value as whoever is highest has, and then adds some. You can use this as an oGCD pulling tool that combines well with Shield Lob for pulling 2 enemies at once. Just keep in mind that using Provoke in this way won't keep the enemy on you for long. It is also a good tool to bring an enemy back to you if you lose one. Dungeons become available at level 15. For tanking especially, it is very useful to know special interaction of your starting action Sprint. Sprint lasts 20 seconds if you use it before you enter combat. If you use it while in combat, it only lasts 10 seconds, so using it just before pulling is beneficial. At level 18, you learn the role action and ability Interject. It can be used to stop interruptible actions. If an enemy is using an interruptible action, the cast bar will be pulsing and blinking. Try to time it so you use Interject as far along in the cast bar as possible, such that the enemy wastes the longest amount of time casting for nothing. At level 22 you learn the role action and ability Reprisal. Reprisal reduces the damage all enemies around you do. You can use this action when Rampart runs out to soften the damage you receive. Try not to use both at the same time, as that is overkill for most situations. If you know the boss is using an attack that hits your entire party, Reprisal is also a good choice to bring out at that time, since it softens it for everyone, not just yourself. At level 26 you learn the weapon skill Rage of Halone. This is the third step of your 1-2-3 combo. You simply add it at the end. With this in mind, you can optimize your use of Fight or Flight in the following way. If you can fit 10 actions in a Fight or Flight window, you should use Fight or Flight just before Rage of Halone. If you can fit 11 actions, do it before Riot Blade instead. Both of these options depend on skill speed and your performance with late weaving to some extent. At level 30, doing your class quest line will eventually lead you to the Paladin quest, which is available once you complete the main scenario quest, Self-Management. Once you unlock the Paladin, remember to equip your Soul Crystal to change into the Paladin job. The starting action of the Paladin is the ability Spirits Within. Use this ability on cooldown, Since it is physical, it is boosted by fight or flight. For this reason, you should try to make sure the first and then every second Spirits Within is used while affected by fight or flight. You still gain damage output from this if you delay up to 2 GCDs before using it, but any longer than that and it's better to just use Spirits Within. If you start the boss fight by delaying until your first fight or flight, then you should be fine by using it on cooldown for the rest of the fight. At level 32 you unlock the roll action and ability Arm's Length. This ability makes you immune to most knockback effects, and if a normal enemy hits you, its attack speed is slowed for a while. This makes it a very potent defensive tool on packs of enemies. It is recommended to use it alongside Reprisal since it takes a hit or two before you start feeling the benefits. At level 35 you unlock the ability Sheltron. It spends Oath Gauge, which is generated by auto attacks, 5 per hit. The Paladin auto attacks around every 2.2 seconds. Sheltron makes you block all attacks for 4 seconds. Blocking usually prevents around 20% damage, but it can vary in lower levels. At level 38 you unlock the ability Sentinel. This is a 30% damage reduction effect. In your order of defensive cooldowns, you should use Sentinel as your first option due to its higher potency. Remember to not overlap your defensive cooldowns however, as in most circumstances it is unnecessary and overkill. At level 40 you unlock the weapon skill Prominence. This is the step 2 to your Total Eclipse. This empowers your AoE attacks to the point where you should use Total Eclipse and Prominence as long as there are more than one target. At level 45 you unlock the ability Cover. This costs 50 Oath Gauge and fully protects the target of your choice. Be aware that this redirects all damage as well as effects from anything your target is affected by. The ultimate saving tool, yet also one of the scariest tools to use for your own safety. At level 48 you learn the roll action and ability Shirk. This ability transfers 25% of your enmity to your target. This is used for tank switching. When your tank partner uses Provoke to grab attention, you shirk your partner to push them further ahead to ensure the enemy stays on them. This is more useful in high level content, but it is nonetheless useful to know how to use it. At level 50 you learn the ability Circle of Scorn. It does damage up front as well as damage over time, or DOT for short. Due to its cooldown being 25 seconds, using it on cooldown is perfectly fine. The fact it is boosted by fight or flight by being physical damage does not change anything, as the cooldown automatically makes it available once per fight or flight. You also learn the ability Hallowed Ground at level 50. This is the ultimate defensive cooldown. It makes you completely impervious to most damage with nearly no exceptions. You can keep this as a last resort, or you can plan to use it preemptively for a particularly large pull or an especially threatening hit from a boss. Its extremely long cooldown does however suggest you should really make sure to make it count when you do use it. If you can, try to make sure to never use it while any other defensive cooldown is active, as they will be completely wasted. Now to round off, we cover attack rotation. For single target, you want to rotate through your 1-2-3 combo repeatedly. If you are below level 40 and there are 2 targets, make sure to alternate who you attack to keep them both on you. Additionally, you want to use both Spirits Within and Circle of Scorn on cooldown. Try to make sure to use Fight or Flight either just before Rage of Alone or Riot Blade, depending on whether you can fit 10 or 11 actions in the window. Also, try to plan such that you can fit Spirits Within in every second Fight or Flight. For AoE, below level 40 you simply click Total Eclipse. Use Fight or Flight on cooldown. This should be done on 3 targets or more. At or above level 40, if there are 2 or more targets, you alternate between Total Eclipse and Prominence. If you can fit 11 actions, try to time Fight or Flight before Prominence, but the total damage difference won't be earth-shattering, so in these scenarios it may be more important to simply use the buff on cooldown. Remember to use Spirits Within and Circle of Scorn on cooldown. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or considerations, you are welcome to leave a comment down below. Fun fact: Paladin's AoE used to rely heavily on an action that just did a humongous amount of enmity but no damage. This was removed with Shadowbringers.